Hi everyone, this is Ravi, and I'm going to do something today which I have not done before in my videos, and that is a movie review. And considering the kind of movie it is, I think this totally justifies me trying to do something new. So let's start. Let's start with the plot because I have a lot of opinions to share here. First up, before we begin, this video is going to be full of spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie and you don't like spoiler reviews, then you could please stop here. Okay, disclaimer done. Let's begin. Let's talk about the plot first. And plot essentially has like three tracks, from the beginning. The three tracks to it, like essentially two tracks, and both the tracks keep referring back to the third track as and when they need to. So the first track is of a security clearance committee review meeting where there is a team of three judges and one person. They're trying to evaluate whether the security clearance of Oppenheimer should be done or not. That's the first track. Later on in the movie, we get to know that this committee that has been formed is basically a conspiracy by Admiral Strauss, a very important character played by Robert Downey Jr. And the second track is of Robert Downey Jr. and it's this is shot in black and white. So pretty much wherever you see um, Admiral Strauss shot or being displayed, that shot is in black and white, and primarily the track two is where his story shows up. So track two is where our admiral is trying to get a cabinet position, and he is in front of a Senate committee where his hearing is going, his plea is going through. Where there is a lot of reference of Oppenheimer, but there's no Oppenheimer he himself. This is basically a scene of 1958. And the third track is the actual movie track, which starts somewhere from 1928 when Oppenheimer is trying to poison his professor, and it continues till 1954 when his security clearance gets revoked. Um, the movie kind of ends there. I mean, that's one of the um, I mean, movie actually does have 1958 and 59 shots as well, but you do not see Oppenheimer after 1954. Nolan's choice. That's the way he wanted it to go. So that's the plot. Now let's talk about what is good in the movie. And uh, there is a lot, if you have been through other reviews, you would have known that everybody is like all gaga about how amazing this movie is, and this is going to sweep across all the awards in the Academy Awards next year and all. And I'll not go and repeat all those great things, but I'll try and add the great things that I felt in the movie. And for me, the topmost thing that I really absolutely enjoyed watching was all the scientists that are shown in this movie. Not just Oppenheimer. You see Einstein, you see Heisenberg, you see Born, Teller, Fermi, Feynman, Lawrence is there. I mean, there's so many scientists, and seeing them in flesh and blood is amazing. I mean, you've read about them in books, but now you see them interacting with each other, discussing physics, solving problems, discussing some great things, and that really gives you goosebumps. It gave me for sure. It was an amazing scene. Um, I also liked that the whole moral dilemma of should we use a nuke or not is very nicely shot. I mean, there's a segment of like 10-15 minutes where we know that Germany has surrendered, and I mean, America does not need to use the nukes at this stage. But should we do it? Should we not do it? And like two, three scenes where this discussion has been shown on the television, and they're very nicely shot. Um, Third, I absolutely loved is the dialogues. They're very smart and witty dialogues. There's like one scene where General Strauss says to Oppenheimer, looking at Einstein, that hey, look, you should go and talk to Einstein. He's one of the greatest minds of our time. And Oppenheimer says that he was a greatest mind of his time. That was really a kick-ass dialogue to be heard about Einstein in a movie. And there's also a scene where Emily Blunt's character goes to the ranch, and then there is a conversation between Killian Murphy and Emily Blunt. Very small, like 1 minute or 2 minute conversation, but it's a very nice conversation. But totally enjoyed that. There's also a scene where Matt Damon uh, playing General Grooves. He This is the first scene. He's going to walk. He's walking up to meet Oppenheimer, and he takes off his jacket and throws it to Colonel Nichols and says, "Get it to dry clean." And then says, "Hey, hey, Doctor Oppenheimer, I'm General Nichols. I'm General Grooves." Uh, this is a scene, and then Oppenheimer says that, "Oh, you treat your colonel like that. I wonder how will you treat a humble scientist?" And General Grooves, Matt Damon's character, says, "Oh, I met to meet one." So that was a very pardon my interpretation. I'm pretty terrible at that, but in the movie, that scene comes along very nicely, and since that's the first scene between Matt Damon's character and Cillian Murphy's character, they hit along pretty well. I mean, it looks pretty nice. Um, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Admiral Strauss, and his overall character arch is very nice. I think the whole suspense around him, and not liking Oppenheimer, uh, that comes towards the end, and then the character shifts gear. It's very nice, very nicely done. Um, People will talk about how amazing the background score is, and I'm a big fan of that as well. I think it's not a usual background score, and there's a very unique, different, deft touch to it, and totally enjoyed that. There's a new touch, there's a uniqueness to it. And then, like pretty much all the reviewers, the treatment of sound, treatment of light, at times it feels overdone, but it's like amazing to look at. And then the usual praise of how good the direction is, how good the editing is, the cinematography, the acting done by everybody. It's like given. I think you would assume all of that to be part of a masterpiece or a creation done by Nolan. So all of those things are there. Okay, so this is all good thing. Let's talk about the things that I actually did not like. And yes, I feel that there is not a lot of criticism of this movie anywhere, and I feel there's a lot of pressure in criticizing the movie as well. It's like, who are you to question a piece of work by Nolan? Like, can you question a creation of a master creator? And there is a sense that if he has done it in a certain way, then that is the best way to do it, and you got to adapt it. It's just like a master chef creating a dish and adding a unique spice to it, which does not go with it, but you have to develop a taste because it's been created by a master chef. And there's a sense of that here as well. If there is someone criticizing it, then there's a notion that he or she has not understood it, the movie, and then the person is talking about it. So I do know that, like, criticizing this movie is not going to be easy, but with that risk, let me try that. And here are my cribs with this movie. First up, there's like too much of communism in this movie. Like the first segment that I was talking about, and 1.5 hours, like every other scene is like, oh, he's a communist. It's a communism. It's a communist thought process or communist ideology. Like there's so much communism baked into it. Okay, we get it. I mean, we get that Robert J. Oppenheimer was influenced by communist ideas, but there's like so much of it. It becomes so much that it starts bothering you and starts irritating you. So that was like too much done. There could have been, there's not so much of a need to highlight that part like so many times. Um, there's also an inherent theme of the movie that being a communist or having communist ideology is a crime, and that will be equal to uh, a treason, or a being labeled as a traitor. I do not know. I got that feel from the movie. It may not be the inherent idea of the director, but maybe that was the inherent idea of the director. I don't know, but that's the sense I got. Communist is a thought process and ideology. You may not agree with it, you may agree with it, but it's not a crime to have an ideology like that. But movie shows that it is a crime. There is not much, this is third negative, there's not much of General Grooves in the movie, Matt Damon's character. I mean, whatever we've seen in the trailer is very much the crux of it. I'm a big Matt Damon fan, and the character of General Groups, he's totally crushed it. Whenever he was on the scene, I was looking at him. I was waiting for his dialogue. I was waiting for his facial structures and dialogue delivery. It was so nice. I so wish there should have been more of it. I mean, it looks very less. You're like left wanting for more. I also wish that the script had spent some more time on the Los Alamos and the build-up of the bomb, which is the segment two. I mean, that's barely like 25-30 minutes. It's not enough. I think uh, there could have been focus on. I get the again communism impacting part, but that could have been little less, and there could have been more on the science aspect. At times, it looks little subdued from the communist discussion that happens in the movie. Movies rushing all the time, and like there are like iconic moments where you would have loved to spend some more time, to understand the discussion, go deep in those conversations. But movie does not spend at one point for a long. It just keeps moving from one frame, one conversation to another, and it's like super fast paced. um, I again, it's just an opinion. I would have preferred if there would have been some more depth to some of the conversations and take it a little deeper. Um, Next problem is Jean Tatlock's character. I mean, it's an important character, but in the movie, it's very it's not easy to relate to her or to whatever her overall goals and objectives are. In real life, Jean Tatlock's character and Oppenheimer dated for like close to 3 years, but in the movie, it looks like random flicks. It looks like, oh, they had a quick fling together and then they go back. It's just there's not much of a consistency on their relationship. You got to assume that it is happening like that. And that also goes back to my next point. Like, why not add your references? Like the Security Review Committee that's happening. It's in 1954. The cabinet position Senate review was 1958. The Princeton role from Strauss, when he invites Oppenheimer to take up that role, was of 1947. Like some of these timelines, you're assumed to know. You will not be told, and that confuses you to a certain extent. That hey, when is supposed to be happening? Like they had a meeting with Bonn in London University. What happens? Like when does that happen? Like some of these timelines are like just left open. Um, for you to imagine. And I mean, if you have read about those books and if you've read about Oppenheimer, you will know. But then if you have not, then you do not know when exactly those incidents are happening. Are they happening after 6 months or after 6 years? There's no connection. um, I'll also have an issue with how this movie is treating its promotion. Like in the promotion, is all you see is like Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, but there are like 20 other important characters in the movie, all with significant roles. At times, um, very significant, um, and very important dialogues. Uh, Now, if you want to make a biography covering every aspect of one's life, you have to compromise on something. You can't cover a scientist's 62-year life in a 3-hour movie and do justice to the character. You got to compromise on something and focus on some. Here, I believe that compromise on something and a focus on some are not in the right proportion. I think there was a lot more. It could have been written much better. Is was what my take is. Is it best Nolan's movie? No, it's not. I mean, Inception or A Dark Knight or even Tenet. I like Tenet. Uh, they're like much better movie in my opinion than Oppenheimer, but it's a great watch. Do not do not go with my crib. I think overall this movie is fantastic. The theme, the pace, the whole content, the acting is top notch, and you can never be disappointed with this movie. It's a great watch, great thing to have. I'll definitely suggest that please read about Manhattan Project. and about Oppenheimer's life before you go and watch it, because then it'll make a lot more sense to you. So that's pretty much about me. Hope you enjoyed. You guys take care. Bye bye.